Wow.
Well,
That's
that the new intro?
That it?
For now.
For now.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's more themed because it was kind of like the playoff music.
Oh, yeah.
Gotcha. I was expecting.
Gotcha.
I didn't know what was coming next.
No.
Yeah,
That's
so
the
this
first
is the second episode of Be Nerd.
Yeah,
Yes,
we're
it is.
we're in it.
We're in it.
Here we go.
We just boom, bada boom.
Right, we've been
And
played.
we'll-
Ironically, played off the stage to begin the segment.
We've been played on.
We're playing on the stage.
We've been played on.
The show hasn't gone on long enough, so
Right.
we're being played on. It's the opposite of how these things usually work.
Exactly.
Yeah, weird.
Now I
weird.
now I understand. Thank you for joining us for the second edition of the repackaged Be Nerd. I don't know what episode it would be if we had kept going, but it was Memory Mania and is now Be Nerd.
Yeah.
It is our contribution, or one of our contributions, to the NAI Pop Network, and we're adding this to Twitch and to YouTube Live because we love you, and it's because if you're a Patreon, you get it early, and because we want to definitely branch out and tell your friends. Again, like, comment, subscribe to the things you see and hear and already listen to. It goes a very long way, and tell your friends as we try to make 2018 the biggest and best year yet for fans of really all varieties, as we are usually the pro wrestling coverage you've grown to know and become accustomed to. And now we are three people who, we have 2 film degrees. We have somebody who's basically just as big a nerd as us with Bill Neville and the things that he loves with that fall under the nerd category. If you have Star Wars posters in your room, you're a dork. So
I do. I have all 3.
So it all works.
It checks out.
And this is the show and the opportunity we get to kind of branch away from pro wrestling and talk about what else is on our list of interests. One day we're going to do a Power Ranger show and a Batman show specifically, and then I'm sure we'll do some sort of a Final Fantasy thing, and then for Bill, we'll just talk about porgs.
I thought you were going to say porn. I was like, well.
Yeah, we could do that.
I mean, nerds love porn, too.
We could yeah, sure. Almost more so than non-nerds because of their options in life. But we really do appreciate you joining us live. If you saw us on Twitch or YouTube and just thought you'd click some links and say, hey, this is pretty interesting. I like The Room. Well, first of all, I like you because The Room is the greatest movie ever made by human beings, crocodiles, vampires, or space aliens. They all lump into the same category because I'm not sure which one Tommy Wiseau is. Perhaps he's one of those situations where he's a quarter each. But it's the best film ever made.
He's a Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah, well,
of like supernatural alien creatures.
My theory is one of 2 things: that either he was a crocodile that made a wish to become a vampire.
Yep.
That wish was granted. Or he's a space alien that had about 60 days to observe human behavior.
He went to like alien college.
No, I just think that what happened was they sent him down to Earth and they go, you have 60 days to observe human content and then interaction and then recreate it through film with an unlimited budget. And he goes, all right, I'll give it best cracking shot.
Yeah.
And it's, in a way, the biggest success out of, because the thing is, you think of movies that came out in 2003, you have to think about it. Right. I don't. The Room came out in 2003. It's the best one. And it was now somehow in some way affiliated with a Golden Globe. And we will be talking about that. We'll also be talking about the fact that it was a controversial Golden Globe, so we're not going to start talking about sexual assault and men's and women's rights because we're trying to have some fun, and it's just not...
Yeah, it's too heavy.
Not what we're going for here, but it did bring up a point that there was, as Natalie Portman said, an all-male nomination for Best Director.
Yep.
And the 2 snubs were, I believe, Lady Bird was directed by a woman.
Right.
And Wonder Woman was directed by a woman. So that got us thinking as nerds that see comic book movies constantly underrepresented.
And also breaking box office records.
Right. Well, just underrepresented at these award shows. You know what I mean?
Right.
My big thing, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, is I don't care if The Dark Knight didn't win Best Picture. I don't remember what the field was, but it probably shouldn't have, right? But it should have been nominated.
Right.
And that's the problem. And if the director of Wonder Woman, a hugely popular and successful movie, so there's two classifications, there's 2 qualifications that we look for to deem whether a movie was a success. Was it well received and did it make money? Wonder Woman was well received and made money. So the fact that she wasn't nominated for Best Director, I don't think that's a woman snub personally. I think that's a superhero movie snub.
Right.
And we'll talk all about that as well. If it's your first time joining us, if you subscribe to the New Age Pop Network for Ant or for G-Rod or for the Pops or for Late Night Liam or for Mike Wendt or for anything that we've got going on, or maybe again, like I said, you clicked some links and checked out what was going on, well, welcome and we appreciate it. My name is Jason Malta.
I'm Liam Strager.
And I'm Bill Neville.
We're the New Age Insiders. You can find us on Twitter. Please do. We are at New Age Insiders, at Liam NAI, at Bill Neville NAI. We are also live every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock with the New Age Insiders wrestling show. We have some of the biggest stars in the world on our airwaves. This week will be no exception, as we're joined by pro wrestling savior JT Dunn.
That would be last week.
Right. Whenever you heard this, you probably already heard. That's right. Time, space. JT Dunn. We've had Jim Ross on recently, the owner of Beyond Wrestling. Joey Ryan, amongst other big stars. We've had Donovan Dijak on. By the time you're hearing this, I could probably talk about the fact that we had, hopefully, some big exclusive words from the newest NXT superstar in Todd Warbeard Hansen, as War Machine makes their way to, as long as the show gets released after this Friday, I'm allowed to say it.
Right. But aren't we releasing this for Patreons first?
Oh, but they already know.
We can release it early.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but they already know.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah,
great.
they already know.
All right.
We told them not to say anything. They already know.
And if you say anything,
Yeah, please don't do that, or we won't tell you cool stuff anymore, and we probably won't learn as much cool stuff anymore. Don't ruin it for everybody else. But
true.
We've had some of the biggest stars in the world, including Ted DiBiase, the reigning Ring of Honor champion, our first reigning sitting world champion, Bill Goldberg, amongst others, have joined us recently. So we really hope that you, if you're a wrestling fan, you can jump all into that experience as well, and that you enjoy this show. We also offer, like I said, Cool Comic Collected, Late Night Liam, that movie show, this show as well, For the Pops with Scotty Slade, and Jamie Jimikowski on the New Age Pop Network and iTunes, Podomatic, Lork Noble, Stitcher, Google Play, and Spotify. And all together with our NAI Wrestling Network as well, with the redesigned NewAgeInsiders.com coming soon. We are the premier place for fans of all kinds to connect, discuss, and to be heard. And as we said earlier, it was a great time for a personal hero of mine. Wrestling has supplied me with many heroes in my life, right?
Right.
I used to, for better or worse, really admire Hulk Hogan, the character, not the man. That led to me falling in love in the straightest way possible, and maybe even not the straightest.
No, definitely not.
Maybe not even the straightest way possible.
Definitely not.
With Bill Goldberg, who became like a real escape for me and a very, very important part of my childhood, as fans who of the NAI wrestling experience already know. And wrestling has supplied me with many a hero. But
Film.
there is also film. I've been inspired, oddly, by the fictitious Bruce Wayne, but more so than anything else, Tommy Wiseau is a inspiration to us all.
Right.
Because this seemingly talentless man, with an idea but not a plan, made the best movie ever made, and is finally 15 years later,
Right.
getting the recognition he deserves. The movie that he made inspired a movie that has now won a Golden Globe. It's just like when, what's his name? When who's the guy with the accent that everybody likes that's in stuff?
Which one is that? Christian Bale?
No,
Hugh Jackman.
No, the little old guy that everybody likes.
Gary Oldman?
No, he's German, I think.
Christoph Waltz?
Christoph Waltz. Christoph Waltz won Best Supporting Actor for Inglourious Bastards,
Right.
which means Quentin Tarantino has directed an Academy Award-winning film now. You know what I mean?
I mean, he's already won several best screenplays. He won it for Inglourious Bastards, I think.
Okay,
And then
but what did he do before?
Pulp Fiction.
Did that? I don't think that won an Academy Award.
Yeah, that wasn't his first Academy Award. Like, he's actually won Academy Awards before.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think that
Yeah.
was true. I thought that was a big deal that he had. That was like his first movie that was directly associated with winning an Academy Award.
No.
Well, the point, Tommy Wiseau has now. Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Okay. Well, Tommy Wiseau has now been linked directly to a Golden Globe winning film.
Yeah.
That will get nominated for an Academy Award. Who was it that finally won the Scorsese, right?
Scorsese.
Finally won for The Departed.
For The Departed.
The two Academy Awards that Christoph Waltz have won was 2009 for...
Tarantino.
Oh, sorry.
Tarantino.
Yeah.
Never mind.
But now Tommy Wiseau and The Room is directly linked and affiliated with a Golden Globe Award-winning movie.
Yeah.
That's just something that I will cherish
Yeah,
forever.
He won Best Original Screenplay for Pulp Fiction.
Did he really?
And Django Unchained.
Okay. Well, Django Unchained came out after Inglourious Basterds.
Right, but...
I thought Inglourious Basterds was the big thing that he had finally been part of an Academy Award-winning movie. Yeah. But now Tommy Wiseau has. And Tommy Wiseau, with all the lack of talent, but yet more talent than anyone in Hollywood, has now been associated with that award. He is. No movie makes you laugh and think and ask questions and make you keep going. You can watch Citizen Kane more than once, so you can try to see.
Citizen Kane is terrible.
What you missed. Yeah, but it's a good.
Citizen Kane is.
But it needs to be watched more than once to pick up everything.
Yeah,
not that you want to do that.
No,
but.
Citizen Kane. The issue with Citizen Kane is that for the time that it came out, it was revolutionary and nobody had ever seen anything like that. But now everything that it pioneered is commonplace. So if you obviously have to be sat down to watch Citizen Kane because you're not going to happen upon it, you're going to be
4 hours.
You're going to be bored out of your mind because you're like, oh, all of these things that made everybody go, whoa, is just like, oh yeah, I saw that in this TV show I watched earlier today.
Right.
So it's not as groundbreaking. It's like the same thing with everybody freaked out in the Great Train Robbery. That old movie, and they freaked out because at the end of the Great Train Robbery, and I get to do it because we got a camera. A cowboy shows up on screen and shoots at the screen, and the gun goes off, and people panicked because they thought that this guy was really shooting into the audience.
Well, this whole thing when the TVs first came into homes, and they showed the train coming right at the TV, and the family got out of the way.
Right,
the train was going to come through the flipping TV.
Yeah, right. So but now we're sitting there, and it's like I've seen enough things shoot at the screen. I've seen 3D movies where things come at me, and it's
I've seen the Muppet 3D theater where I basically interact with this 3D nonsense that's coming right at me.
Yeah.
I also love the fact that has just not changed.
Oh no, not at all.
The same show.
Nor will it.
It's never been like, I know you can't change the film, but it's just like it's even the same like Sweet Tooth costume. You know,
Sweetums?
Sweetums, is that his name?
Yeah, it's the last thing that Henson
Sweet
produced,
Tooth.
wasn't it?
Sweet Tooth is from Twisted Metal.
Sweet Tooth is the evil burning head clown from Twisted Metal.
Twisted Metal, a franchise that died 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's just like everything about it is just exactly like you go around. You're like, that's where the cannon's gonna fire. And it's like, yep, and there it does. This has been a thing I've been coming to for my whole life. Which 17 years now.
Yeah, but
I'm very young.
The thing that I was most intrigued with is now that Tommy Wiseau is actually getting some sort of like credit, right? Because obviously James Franco is getting the credit for the movie. He directed it, he's starring in it, and he's the guy that is nominated and actually winning the Academy or the Golden Globe more specifically, but nominated for all of these awards. And when he brought Tommy Wiseau up on stage, and Tommy Wiseau like tried to start to speak, but they like pushed him away.
Really should have let him.
It made me ask the question: what do you think that man would say?
Well, in the thing, and I looked.
You are tearing me apart, Lisa.
That's exactly it.
Why?
That is exactly the answer.
Well, I think that the thing of the shame of it is to me is that like Franco. This is not your first award. This is not your last award. Tommy Wiseau will never get on the stage at the Golden Globes again.
You mean the guy that was in Pineapple Express?
Yeah, but he also won awards.
127 hours.
127 hours, and he's been in all sorts of stuff that's done.
Should have won something for Spring Breakers too.
I never saw that.
Never saw that.
He didn't. How about Your Highness? Perhaps the worst movie with all these funny people in it ever made. But James Franco's won awards before, and he'll win awards again. This is the only time Tommy Wiseau will ever be on the stage at the Golden Globes.
Right. Do you think that? I mean, because there's a very good chance that he wins Best Actor. At the Academy Awards, there's a very good chance that he does it.
And if they do, you got to invite? You got to let Tommy do it, right?
I would let Tommy. I would save it, right? Like that would be the one I would save because that's the moment. Like you're not gonna be able. Like if James Franco's like, I'll let you speak at the Academy Awards, but I'm not gonna let you speak at the Golden Globes.
For the love of God, then he has to win. Yeah. If that's on the table. He has to win.
Right.
I have to see Tommy Wiseau accept an Academy Award he didn't win. Because that's what will happen. He'll get up there and be like, "Oh, thank you so much for an award I won. Great time, right?"
Yeah.
Like
I like that he's just Borat. To you.
No, Borat is it's very close.
It's the same thing.
It's not exactly the same, but it's
the speech pattern.
You'll never get this. You'll never get this. La 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 la.
Lisa, you wear a red dress. It's a little boy. See, Borat is about like this. Well, Lisa.
I didn't hit her. I didn't.
I did not hit her. I did not do it. I did not.
Yeah.
Borat would be like,
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not.
Now, can you pull a Borat?
The best is no. See, Borat is like.
No, I'm not really talking about that Borat. I'm talking about your Borat.
Borat's more like, very nice, right?
It's the same thing.
No.
Yeah, you're definitely doing the same thing.
No. Borat's like,
You're doing
very nice.
And then Tommy's
Tommy's got more of a different inflection. It's like, wow, Lisa, wow.
Yeah, but the voice you are doing is the same.
No, it's very nice. wow. There's an overtone.
No,
you put a little. You go up and up over the palate with Borat, and you kind of like roll Tommy Wiseau out. Borat is up with this like this, and then Tommy Wiseau is more like that.
Well, now you just made him Italian.
No.
So the question
It's my town of Cusack.
Yeah, they're different.
These are
they're different. You're the same.
No.
Your impressions.
No. It's I am a Borat, and then Tommy Wiseau's I'm the Tommy. No, there's a difference.
mechanic and the versionist.
It's the same.
I'm telling you,
It's my house.
It's
Entry, please.
Borat is hi. We have two bros, no bitches, and then Tommy is wow. Listen, wow. There's an overtone.
It's the same.
It's not the same.
It is the same.
It's not the same.
So the question I would have to you is,
not the same.
Tommy Wiseau gets up there for the Academy Awards. He gets up there, and
why?
what does he say?
Oh, he said.
He
said, first of all, I am another Borat.
Yeah, no, he's not Borat. You're doing Borat.
No way. I don't know because you're talking about a man that wrote a script as if he had just spent 100 years on Earth based on his appearance, but 0 time with human beings based on how he thinks we engage with each other.
Yeah, it's a man that barely understands theater trying to make a Tennessee Williams
But there's
play.
literally a line in the movie where he goes, the barbecue chicken was delicious rice.
Yeah, right.
So you're asking me what he's going to say up on stage?
Nailed it.
Right, he could say anything. He could say like Bing Bong Foreman Grill Elroy Jetson. I have no idea.
Bing Bong.
Wow,
Foreman,
now I'm rooting for that.
Bing Bong Foreman. Elroy.
Foreman Grill. Bing Bong Foreman Grill Elroy Jetson.
now say it like Borat.
The Bing Bong Foreman Grill Elroy Jetson.
Now say it like Borat.
That's Borat.
Oh, now say it like Tommy Wiseau.
The Bing Bong. So if you like more like, all right, I like this. So the Bing, so it's like this. The Bing Bong.
It's exactly the same, Liam.
No,
It's exactly
no,
the same.
Borat, go Bing Bong, Foreman Grill, Elroy Jetson, and he'd be like, Borat would that's Borat, and then he would go. Hi, Mark. Bing Bong, Foreman Grill, Elroy Jetson.
All right, guys, here's the deal. We're gonna put up a poll.
See, no, it's like Jetson or Jetson. They're different. Like Elroy Jetson or Elroy Jetson.
Yeah, you sound like the same person either yelling or not yelling. like it's the same thing.
But that's what it is. It's like Borat would be like, "Are you at the Elroy Jetson?" And Tommy Wiseau would be like, "Elroy Jetson."
Yeah, that's like if I was like Elroy Jetson or Elroy Jetson.
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
Bing Bong, Foreman Grill, Elroy Jetson. That's Tommy.
Yeah.
And then Bing Bong, Foreman Grill, Elroy Jetson. That's Borat.
Yeah. So that
Yeah.
for the first time was different.
Yeah.
That's
Bing
for the-
Bong. No, you're just finally hearing it.
No.
You're finally getting, it's like Rosetta
No,
Stone.
no.
You're gonna learn this language.
Oh, no.
You're
That
gonna-
was the first time that you nailed that.
No, this is like Rosetta Stone.
Yeah,
You're
no.
gonna learn this language through
Yeah,
repetition.
no.
The Bing Bong.
Here's the deal.
Bing,
We're gonna
Bing
set
Bong, Foreman Grill.
We are going to set up a poll. Has he been doing the same voice or are they different?
Remind me when we release this. I will release that poll, and you're gonna get blown away by how many people hear the difference. All right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Bing Bong, Foreman Grill, Elroy Jetson, and then Bing Bong, Foreman Grill, Elroy Jetson.
Do you know that actually sounded very Christopher Walken?
No, that would be wow. Bing Bong, Foreman Grill, Elroy Jetson.
nailed that one.
Yeah, this is why.
It's Tommy Walken.
Yes, Tommy, I'm
we-
Tommy Walken. If you ever put your clothes in my room, it's technically a walk-in closet.
The funny thing is we had a
Wow.
Yeah,
Wicked
wow.
Dude Guy had a series of sketches where we were gonna
Yep.
put him in a bag in a closet. We
Yep.
were just gonna go and now time for the walk-in
Yeah,
closet.
and it was going to be that there was some sort of psychopath that had Christopher Walken tied up in his basement and just made him pick a random word for him to say for his amusement. So the sketch would be like 30 seconds. It would
30
just
seconds.
be Christopher Walken tied up, and it would just be like, on the Monopia. And then that's the whole sketch. That's the whole sketch.
Today's word is onomatopoeia.
On the Monopia, can I go home?
No.
I have family and a diabetic hamster who's giving my insulin.
Yeah, so that was
to
it.
Squiggles.
To
Squiggles the hamster.
The diabetic hamster.
Squiggles the diabetic hamster. Right? All right? I don't want him, like John Cena once said, I don't want him to diabetes. I want him to live-a-betes.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
John Cena didn't actually
Bill,
say that.
no, he didn't.
Yes.
Live-a-betes.
So what do you think that it's a good idea that if Tommy Wiseau has the ability
To talk at the Oscars?
to talk at the Oscars,
I'm
that you
in.
do it?
I'm
Bing
all
bong,
in.
Foreman Grill.
I'm rooting for that.
Also, bigger question. So, not to leave it up to chance. As the
rapper.
director of the host. So Jimmy Kimmel is the host of the 90th Oscars. It's the 90th Oscars. Does Jimmy Kimmel just do a bit with Tommy Wiseau?
I sure
Oh,
hope
he's,
so.
I heard. Yeah, I would imagine.
So,
Sure hope
especially
so.
if he's nominated.
Anything you want to do with that
Are
guy,
those
I'll
out
watch
yet?
it. Whatever you
right.
got.
What?
Are those nominations out yet?
Not yet. So the polls
Because that's the end
close.
of February, right?
The polls close the 12th, so they will have already closed by the time this episode airs.
Bing bong. Bing bong.
And then
Foreman Grill.
the nominations will be announced on January 23rd.
Gotcha.
And so we'll know by then.
Wow.
Awesome.
Great.
Well, I hope so. I'm rooting for a Kimmel Wiseau thing.
That'd be great,
Yeah.
right? I'll be with Jimmy Letterman. Fun, good time, right?
Yeah.
I'm just the age like you. Just age like
19?
you. I'm 19-year-old guy, cool guy.
Now, Bill hasn't made it all the way through, but The Disaster Artist.
Is awesome.
It was,
I can't recommend it enough. You should also just love The Room. The Room is worth loving.
Yeah,
the Room is so
sure.
good.
Sure, and if you want our take on The Room, listen to the most
The previous episode.
the previous episode of that movie show.
The January 9th one.
Yeah.
About The Room.
Yeah, it's about The Room. It's a
I'm
ton
there.
of fun.
It's fun.
It's a ton of fun.
We have a good time. What will Tommy Wiseau say if he gets on stage at the Academy Award? I don't know. It might be Bing Bong, Foreman Grill, Elroy Jetson. I just know that it won't let you down. Whatever he gets up there and says,
Yeah.
he says barbecue chicken is delicious rice.
Right.
Then I'm a satisfied. He's my favorite customer. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's already
Hi,
my
doggy.
favorite customer.
Do you think that a little bit of the sad clown kind of takes over
Of him?
if he was to get up there?
No, because I think that he has believed he's this movie star the whole time, so now he just is finally getting his award. I don't think in Tommy Wiseau's mind he's the sad clown as much as I think he really truly believes he's an unappreciated artist, or maybe in his head now with all the cult movie following thinks he's a actually appreciated artist, and I think he'd just go up there and I think he would. I think the most beautiful thing about, because I've said this about The Room before, if you tried to make that movie, you would fail because you would just make a movie I could tell you were trying to be bad. Right? If you took bad filmmakers and bad production people and bad screenwriters and put them
Right.
together and they made a bad movie, it wouldn't be this bad. It wouldn't be like the way that Terminator 3 is bad.
Yeah,
you know
right,
what I mean. It's
right.
just bad. It's not good.
Well, it's just this weird perfect storm.
Right.
Of everybody is when there's a movie that's so bad it's good. You're talking about The Room, Sharktopus, Sharknado, one of those type of the Birdemic, that type of movie. Everybody is talented enough. And so you're right, because if we just went to film school A and said, you, here's $1 million, make this movie, it would just be bad.
Right, and it's not like bad because like, oh, it's just so out of focus or it's poorly edited or it's not those things. It's just it's bad because this weirdo had this vision, but he just didn't know how to
Execute it.
right and get you there. And no, you couldn't make this movie again if you had. It's a once in a lifetime thing where this weird dude that doesn't quite get how people work. That's what he did, because if you try to make people awkward, you can tell. You know what I mean?
Right.
This was just like, this guy thinks it's like watching The Hangover, and it's like why those three people hung out with Zach Galifianakis, because he's so damn weird. He looped back around to like interesting. You know what I mean? That's what The Room is. The Room is just like, God, I know what you're going for here, man, but this isn't how people act.
And that's part of it, where it's like, and I go back to it all the time. He's trying to make a Tennessee Williams play, and it's just not clicking. Because the beats are there, the type of characters are there,
but like everything about everything
are there.
about The Room just illustrates how he doesn't actually understand human interaction. Like, not even trying to be funny here, right down to nailing that chick in the belly button. It's like, that's not what sex looks like. Like, do you understand the human experience?
Right.
People don't talk like this, act like this, do these things.
Yeah.
But that's all they do in this movie, and that's how you see the world.
Right.
And so it's just this weirdly interesting, fascinating thing where it's like, is that what you're walking around seeing and feeling and looking at? Because no one else is doing it this way.
It's weird.
It's like, you order a pizza and they order a artichoke they order an artichoke and a Canadian bacon pizza, half pesto, light on the cheese. That's not a human pizza.
No, that's
not a human pizza. Nor does it need to be a line in the movie. Hi, I live in 123 Main Street. Order a pepperoni pizza.
Well, that's the thing. Why is the detail in the pizza order? Like the focus is off. The details are off. It's very interesting. It's very fascinating because you're right. In film school, you could have given me the script to The Room, and I would have made a very, very different movie, and it wouldn't have been as good.
Right, because it just would have been a regular bad movie based on the source material you had to work with.
Right, you would have looked at it and been like, oh yeah, this is a college kid's student film.
Like, there's one point in the movie where Mark goes, underwear, what's that? Bumps into his friend who goes crashing into a bunch of trash cans, and then he's out. He's done.
Oh yeah, they take him to the hospital.
He got like wiped out. And it's like, who says underwear, what's that? And then pushes their friend. Like, what?
Right.
I love it. But again, real quick before we wrap things up for this edition of Be Nerd, because we want this to be a fun, drivable listening experience that you can pop in and out. And there's tons to hear and that we offer on the NAI Pop Network. So if you're looking for more, there's tons more. On the very same channel you can find us on. But before we go, again, I don't want to get into the politics of it because it's
not worth it.
There's so many places where if you want to bicker about politics, you can. We try to give you a place where you
don't have to.
And we bicker about politics behind the scenes, like the other person, but then there's a fun escape that we're trying to offer you instead. When the light goes red, we're on the air. But what happened when Natalie Portman came out and said all the directors nominees, which is true for what it's worth, is true.
Right.
All the directorial nominees for Best Picture are male. And then we started looking around the room and going, well, geez, what exactly are the snubs? And Lady Bird, I guess, is one because Lady Bird won Best Picture. So how did the director of the Best Picture not get nominated? That's fair.
Yeah, that's very fair.
That belongs on the table. But the other one that I thought of before Lady Bird, because I didn't see Lady Bird, but Wonder Woman, because Wonder Woman was so hugely well received. Again, the thing I talk about, there's two categories. Did it make money? Did people like it?
Right.
Well, it did both. And so that's the one I sat there and go, well, Wonder Woman was directed by a female. And why wasn't she at the table? And I thought, and I still think, I don't have an excuse for Lady Bird. I don't. But I still think that the snub for Wonder Woman has much more to do with the fact that we snub superhero movies than it is about snubbing a woman.
Right.
Which leads to the topic that we want to cover is it time for comic book and superhero movies to start getting a fair crack at least these nominations for things when we award the best movies of the year? And I think it's an overwhelming yes.
Yeah, it is an overwhelming yes. You look at some of the highest grossing movies over the past few years, and I'm going to expand this out a little bit more.
Like 5 of them have Batman in it.
Right. But you look at the movies and it's like Thor. Thor is one of the best pictures of the year, right? Everybody loves it. It made a ton of money.
Yeah.
If I was to tell you that was the best movie of the year, people would agree.
Right.
And I think that, we should widen our scope a little bit in terms of what we deem to be a good picture, because Lady Bird is technically a great movie,
It's
right?
also Hank Hill's dog.
Yeah, it is. It is Lady Bird. But looking at...
Well, fun fact for King of the Hill fans out there, everyone.
Right. But looking at somebody who studied film, loves film, worships film, I understand the difference between a technical, great film and something that's schlocky and fun, right? And I understand that there's a difference, but the superhero genre in and of itself has crossed over away from just being stupid, blow up, fun that you see at a summer blockbuster.
The thing is, like, you know, you can look. We started slashing the line right after the Clooney Batman.
Right.
The Clooney Batman's not a good movie in all sorts of ways. It's not particularly well acted, shockingly, despite the cast. It doesn't pay service to Batman fans, and it doesn't entertain mainstream. I don't care about Batman fans. So it's like, look, if back in like that movie came out in like 97, and so in that era, being nerdy wasn't cool yet.
Right.
And so if you're like, look, we're not trying to appeal to the dorks and the comic fans because we know we're going to get them anyway. We're going to try to make a movie that the average person that doesn't care about Batman can walk into and have a good time. Well, you didn't accomplish that.
No.
Nor did you pay homage to the people that do care about Batman and the core source material, so you failed because you didn't make anybody happy. Right? And it was not a triumph of a film as far as like you wouldn't look at that and be like, oh my god, the cinematography. I mean, it had impressive sets and stuff, but I mean, now I'm trying to like search for things to like about it. It didn't have, you know, wowing cinematography or this. There was nothing about it that would warrant a serious award, despite the field. Then we slashed that line because then we start over with like Batman Begins is just a really good motion picture. If that movie had Tom Cruise instead of Christian Bale, and he just became a random vigilante instead of Batman, and he was just a random ninja that fought crime, that'd be nominated for everything. You know what I mean? But because it's called Batman, we don't do that. But again, if it was just Tom Cruise gets trained by a League of Shadows, goes back to his hometown to kick some ass, that movie is you know, called the greatest thing ever, just like when he was in The Last Samurai, even though he's a white dude. You know what I mean? That's what would happen. And then the biggest, my number one example is, I don't care. I'm the biggest Batman dork you know. The Dark Knight's just a good movie. It's a cop drama where the cop thinks he's a bat and the bad guy thinks he's a clown. Take that away, and it's just a hugely engrossing cop drama.
You look at that movie, right? So that was the 81st Academy Awards, was the one where Heath Ledger won Best Picture, or Best Supporting Actor, right?
It came out in 2008.
It came out in 2008 so that it circles around and it'll be on 2009. So Slumdog Millionaire wins Best Picture. And
what was the field?
So Slumdog Millionaire, Curious Case of Benjamin Button, Frost Nixon, Milk, The Reader, right?
I saw all of those movies except The Reader. There's absolutely no reason The Dark Knight shouldn't be on the list.
And that's my point. That would be the point I would make.
I saw all those movies.
Frost Nixon.
It was really good.
It was very good. It was very good. But Frost Nixon, nobody saw. The Reader, nobody saw.
I don't even remember that.
Milk, nobody saw.
Yeah, it was a good movie though.
Again, I'm not disparaging the quality of these films. But the Dark Knight grossed more than any movie that year.
It grossed $1 billion before that became the normal thing that successful movies do.
And so how can this movie that is so well received by everybody, like everybody went to see it, and they went to see it multiple times, right? How is that not a better movie than The Reader?
And you know what it does too? It by default dilutes a little bit, not completely, but dilutes Heath Ledger's award, because I think you gave him that thing because he died. When he actually went ahead and turned out a performance worthy of the award. But you nominated somebody for Best Supporting Actor in a movie, but didn't think that movie might belong on the list for Best Movies, period, when it grossed $1 billion and everybody liked it. And that one drove me crazy.
And it's the same thing where Nolan isn't even nominated for Best Actor.
For Best Director?
For Best Director, sorry.
And did Bale get
Bale didn't. I don't think Bale deserved it. Because you look at, I think Sean Penn won it for Milk, and
I think he did well.
I think he did well. It was good, and Mickey Rourke I think should have won it that year for The Wrestler.
Oh yeah,
but
The Wrestler should have got nominated too.
But again, I go back to the point of like,
love that movie.
You know, The Pianist, right? That's my go-to one, right? Literally nobody saw it. Nobody saw The Pianist. And how is that the best picture if nobody saw it? I go back to Meryl Streep, right? Meryl Streep won for The Iron Lady a couple years ago. It was panned by critics, and it was panned by like audience goers,
Right.
and it made no money. So how are you the best actress?
Right.
How are you the best actress if you're the best actress, your movie is at least watchable?
And it's just in the bigger picture with this is just like, look, again, The Dark Knight made $1 billion.
Right.
And it somehow Nolan wasn't a nominee for Best Director, even though he made that movie that was so great.
He
directed the Best Supporting Actor of the year.
We've talked about this before on the wrestling show when we talked and had that weird Elseworlds lunch with William Regal
At a 99.
and Oni Lorcan at a 99 in North Andover, Massachusetts.
That did happen.
But he said this. He said we were like, you were so good as a wrestler, and he said, no, I wasn't. And we were like, why? And he was like, because I didn't draw any money. At the end of the day, you have to draw money, and that's the mark of a good wrestler. And I feel that that's a lot of the same when you're talking about this level of filmmaking, right? Where you do have to take into account the box office. You have to, because all of these people are the best of the best in terms of the cinematographers, the directors, the actors. Like, this is the best of the best. This is who we got, right? And so now you have to take into account who saw your movie. This is entertainment.
Yeah.
Who was the most entertaining?
Yeah.
And it's like I said, Thor. The fact that Thor will be nominated maybe for some like visual effect awards, but that's it this year, is a travesty, because I don't know if I don't think Chris Hemsworth deserves a Best Actor nod, but the movie was so well received. There had so much punch in it, so you were laughing. I don't want to say you were crying, but you felt on an emotional roller coaster. You felt attached to the movie.
Well, here, one thing I don't understand, right? So we don't do Thor, right, or the Avengers, right? Even though they're so popular and so well made, they are. They're so well. I keep going back to The Dark Knight because I just don't think you have to be a superhero fan to appreciate it as a movie. There's so much beautiful cinematography.
There's
in
even
it.
one that's a little bit closer, and I go to Captain America 2: The Winter Soldier. Right, that is a political crime thriller.
Right, but the cinematography in The Dark Knight is unbelievable, and the shots that we have, and just it's just so good. It's so well done. Like the timing of when the robbery scene, when we open the movie and the bus just goes right into the line of buses and keeps on going. There's so many things that are just incredible about that movie. But the biggest thing is this. Okay, so we don't do Batman, right? Even though, in theory, I know you got to stretch your mind and imagination a little bit, and I understand that. But in theory, in The Dark Knight, everything in that movie could have happened, right? Let's just say that Batman didn't do anything too impossible.
To the Academy Awards credit, Wally Pfister was nominated for Best Cinematography for The Dark Knight.
Cool. But let's just say it lived in a world where Batman could have done all those things, right? There was no shark repellent spray or aliens or anything, right? But we do nominate, and a lot of people expected to win, the next year, we nominate Avatar, which is about blue aliens and space dinosaurs and,
all sorts of nonsense.
U.S. troops going to a planet
but it's the most expensive movie ever made.
Why does that get nominated? But so it's all goofy alien nonsense stuff. But Batman, oh come on! I mean, it's Batman. How silly!
Right?
One of the guys is a clown
because this is the world it lives in. Right? Heath Ledger puts on the truly worthy performance for Best Supporting Actor in that movie. But it's relegated. The rest of it's relegated to makeup, art direction, cinematography, and visual effects.
Just nominate it.
But
nominate it. That's all. Wonder Woman, nominate it. The director, nominate her.
Right.
That's it. Those are the I know that nobody 100% means it, but it is an honor just to be nominated.
It is.
It is.
Do you know how awesome it would be if I could make a movie that was just nominated?
Wait, well, I mean,
how many? There are so many movies.
Yeah,
there are so many movies.
Yeah, they pick 5 to be the best
10.
ones.
I think they're up to 10 now.
Well, it's it's not as you don't make as much money. It doesn't sound quite as good. But you see the trailers and they go Academy Award nominee. You know what I mean? Academy Award nominee. This person and that person.
It also boosts up your stock.
Right. Well, yeah, not as much as if you win, but more than if you didn't get nominated.
Yeah.
Right. Will we? Will they? When do we?
No. They're not going to.
I think we will eventually.
I think eventually, but
I think there's a lot of pressure there. Like, I'm not going to tell you they have their own category, but there was such a groundswell of angry people when Up didn't get nominated for the Academy Award that they started the animated and digital film category so they could nominate things like Up moving forward.
Right.
So I'm not telling you there's going to be a superhero category, but maybe we do
well,
best picture, we do musical and comedy.
Yeah.
Maybe we do fantasy as a category.
Well, that's the Academy Award just has the one. The Golden Globes have the two.
Okay.
So the Golden Globes are the only ones that have best drama, best comedy, or musical.
Okay.
The Academy Awards do not. But now the Academy Awards, because it used to be 5. It used to be 5, and now they're up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 people. I think the most they've ever had was like 14.
Wow.
But so they've opened the scope a little bit, but you're still talking about movies that, if you have 9 movies nominated for Best Picture, Wonder Woman and/or Thor is one of the top 9 movies of this year.
It just is.
It just is.
Right.
Don't give me the art house movie that was in 100 screens for 3 weeks.
That no one saw.
Right. Because again, if your movie was the best, then I had to go see it. Lady Bird is great. It was very good. It was very touching. It was a very real film. But at the same time, it's like, if you didn't nominate it and tell me to see it, I wouldn't have saw it. But yeah, I saw The Last Jedi. I was stoked for The Last Jedi.
Right.
And there's a middle ground.
And that's the other thing too. Star Wars didn't get nominated, and I know it came out at the deadline here because it came out in like early December.
Yeah.
And so it came out right at the deadline, and I get you. But
the thing is that what other people need to realize is that the Academy Awards, more specifically, is a film festival. You have to submit it, and there's a bunch of things that you have to. It has to go through. There's a checklist. You can look it up online, and you can be released, but have them have had a screener for 3 months so they could be visual effects. But. Again, it's just you have to take. I feel like you have to take into account box office when you're talking about this, because a lot of people saw La La Land. Nobody saw Moonlight last year, right? Moonlight, I do think, was a great movie, and I'm not taking anything away from Moonlight, but La La Land, more people saw it. More people, because did you have anybody say to you, and maybe you didn't have anybody say anything about La La Land either, but, oh man, I saw La La Land. It was really fun. You should go see it.
Well, the biggest thing for me, and there's a whole other show we can have about, what it takes to win an Academy Award and how things have changed over the years. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, as crazy as it is, like a movie like that's considered an instant classic and almost won. Like, I feel like a movie like Jurassic Park wouldn't even get nominated in the first one.
Right.
Not the new ones, not Jurassic World.
Yeah,
but like Jurassic Park, when it was a groundbreaking motion picture, I feel like in today's landscape, something like that wouldn't even get nominated. Star Wars isn't nominated. Like, what are you talking about? What didn't hit your checkpoints? Like, was it not well acted and received and loved and shot and looked good and sounded great?
Saw it.
Right, the soundtrack's incredible. I mean, the score. I mean, what are you looking for?
Right, the visual effects were on point.
I mean, we can have a whole conversation about like what they do and what it takes to get an Academy Award. The biggest thing for me is just like, I'm looking for them to start understanding that the world sees the best picture, the things that they're looking forward to the most, a lot differently now. And I can understand how there's going to be filters and things like this. Like, I'm not telling you to nominate Ant-Man, but I'm just saying, don't not nominate The Dark Knight or Thor Ragnarok because, well, it's a superhero movie. Wonder Woman should have been on the list.
It's a World War I movie, and they're so like I said, it is one of the 9 best movies of the year, both of them.
But we nominate but again, I don't understand, because we nominate fantasy movies.
Right.
We nominate Jurassic Park. We nominate Avatar. We nominate Terminator.
Guillermo del Toro just won Best Director, and he, for, I think it was either a drama or whatever, I don't know if they split that, but he won Best Director for Shape of the Water. And Shape of the Water is about a mute woman that falls in love with the sea creature. And it's like, yeah, that's a fantasy movie. And he's been nominated for Pan's Labyrinth, which is a fantasy movie. But no, because I can go to a comic book store and buy Thor and buy the source material. No, that's not. It's just, tentpole Disney garbage. And it's like, well, I don't know about that. Ron Howard has already directed the next Star Wars movie. He is Ron Howard, the Academy Award-winning director, is going to be the director of the Han Solo movie.
Right.
How is that not legitimate?
Right.
How is that not on par with anything else he's done?
Do you think they take like fairness into it, where it's like they already know Star Wars is going to be like a massive niche, so they kind of disqualify it and let other people kind of
I think
get other things
but
in?
I think that there's a middle ground. I think that there has to be a middle ground in terms of like, if I have to go, what? Like, I didn't even know
because
what...
everyone and their mother knows that Star Wars is going to make $1 billion every time it comes out.
Right. But here's a prime example, right? I, Tonya. I didn't know that was a movie until it showed up in my mailbox as a screener for the SAG-AFTRA Awards. To be like, hey, please consider this for this award and that award and this award. And I was like, I didn't know that was a movie.
Yeah.
So it's like, how? How are you the best? How are you the best? Right? Now, you want to talk about like marketing and how films are marketed and stuff, but cream rises to the top.
See, but I don't need it to just be based on things like that, because I think The Hurt Locker was a much better movie than Avatar.
Right.
So it can't just be based on attendance. At some point, we have to look at it as
right.
They're this academy that's supposed to be, quote unquote, the film experts of the world. I want them to look down and just not look at box office numbers alone. It's just so that's the conversation about who wins. I'm just talking about getting nominated. Like, I don't think Wonder Woman should win. I think it should be on the list. Right. I think when we talk about, it's like when we did the NAI year-end awards, right? There were people that said, like, how did you leave off this? Like, even if it didn't win, how did you not, like, we didn't put John Cena versus AJ Styles at the Rumble as match of the year. I'm not even telling you it would have won, but we should have had it on the list. It should have been on the list because that means something to people to be able to look at it and just get the notoriety that it was at least on the list. If we got a letter from iTunes that said you're nominated for Best Podcast Channel of the Year, I'm going to frame that letter.
Yeah,
whether we win or not. So, like, I do want the Hurt Locker to get looked at the way Avatar gets looked at, but I also want the Dark Knight to get looked at the way Milk gets looked at, because I don't know if I believe, and I saw them both and liked them both, but I'm not convinced Milk is a better movie than the Dark Knight. You know what I mean?
No, because that's
not better.
I guess that's the thing, that the entertainment value is taken out of it a little bit for me, or at least that's the way I perceive these awards, where it's like you're taking this a little too seriously.
Oh, right.
And I would like and so things like box office numbers and attendance do matter to me in the nomination process.
Yeah, totally.
And it shouldn't be the end all be all, because you're right. Because by that logic, like, I'm pretty sure more people saw the Emoji Movie than they saw Lady Bird.
Probably.
And the Emoji Movie is
like reprehensible,
terrible,
like unwatchable,
right? And you know what I mean. So there is a middle ground.
Yeah, right.
But that's, I guess, my big point is, like, yeah, look, are we getting there? Because The Disaster Artist 5-10 years ago doesn't get nominated because it's a movie about a terrible movie,
right?
And it's funny. It's funny. It's a hilarious, funny movie.
But it's a short, funny little Seth Rogen, James Franco movie.
Right? Because Pineapple Express didn't get nominated,
right?
And
it's a good movie. It
would have been 5-10 years ago. It would have been viewed that way.
Sure.
So I do think that we're making progress. I think for two reasons, this is the year. I think that this might be the year to have comic book directors and actors.
But what's coming out, though? What's coming out that's going to do that?
I think it's Wonder Woman.
You want the sequel?
No. I'm talking about this year, because the Academy Awards aren't out yet.
Okay.
And so throw Patty Jenkins on.
Just nominate her.
Just nominate her.
Nominate her for Best Director. Nominate Gal Gadot for Best Actress. Just nominate her.
Yeah.
I don't know if Gal Gadot's going to win. Gal Gadot is whatever.
Gal Gadot. Yeah.
I think it's Gadot.
Great. Yeah, sure.
Meet right in the middle.
Yeah.
Just nominate her. You know what I mean? And then go from there. And then go back in time and nominate The Dark Knight, one of the best movies ever made. And congratulations to Tommy Wiseau, who made the best movie ever made in The Room. And if you want to be even closer friends, watch The Room, come and tweet me and just be like, how amazing was that? And I'll talk to you about it for hours because I could talk about that room for days.
Just listen to that movie show this week. He stormed down and never left.
I heard them talking about it, even though they were doing a show. I just heard somebody say like Lisa and Mark, and I was just like, oh my God, somebody's talking about the room. Ah!
Yeah.
I would go run to strangers if I heard them like say like, oh, hi, Mark. I'd be like, oh, I know, right? Oh my God. How hi, Mark.
God. Yeah, right.
She got beat up so bad she wound up in a hospital on Guerrero Street. What a story, Mark. The best line in that whole movie. What about Elizabeth? Like that's the best sound. He doesn't say huh. It's what about Elizabeth?
That's
right?
Yeah, what is that noise?
It's the sound you make when you have to say bing bong Foreman Grill Elroy Jetson.
Bing bong Elroy Jetson.
Bing bong Foreman Grill
Elroy Jetson.
Elroy Jetson. I'm a human being too, like you, Mark. I'm a human being.
I'm 19.
I'm 19-year-old human being. This is real Hollywood director movie. This is real Hollywood movie, Bill.
Yeah. So I would
I'd
highly recommend checking out the last week's That Movie Show. This week's That Movie Show is going to be really fun. We're doing Demolition Man starring Wesley Snipes and Sylvester Stallone.
I got toilets because I'm big movie star.
Right.
That was more Borat.
Yeah.
Big movie star.
You've been doing the whole thing the same time.
This is Tommy. Again, Tommy Wiseau. We make a real Hollywood movie. And then Borat would be Big Hollywood movie.
It's the same thing.
It's not. There's a difference.
It's the same thing.
Tweet us and see if you can get a difference. Also, like, subscribe, comment, tell your friends about this show,
All
about
the
New Age
YouTube,
Pop.
Twitch.
Yeah, anything that you guys listen to us on, if you can give a thumbs up, like, subscribe, comment, even if you just write the word hello, it goes a long way. And it's an algorithm that says, oh, people are commenting on this, and it really does go a long way, and we appreciate it greatly.
Because my goal for 2018 is to get one of these shows trending on iTunes.
Woo! And we've already made on Twitch $4 American. So this thing's really starting to work.
Yeah, we're really doing it.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for joining us on the New Age Pop Network. Make sure you listen to the New Age Insiders Wrestling Network as well. And stick around on this very channel for the Pops, Cool Calm Collected, Songs for the Moment, Late Night Liam, That Movie Show, and of course backlogged editions of Be Nerd. We'll see you Wednesday night for the the New Age Insiders Wrestling Show. I don't know if we have a guest yet because it's the future.
Yeah, we don't know what we're doing next week.
At least we'll talk about it.
Yeah, tomorrow. Great. In the future.
Who knows? I don't know what I'm doing tonight. I don't know what I'm going to watch on Netflix when I go to bed. Probably the new Chappelle special.
Oh,
there's two.
There's two, right?
There's two. I already watched the first one.
How was it?
It was
Okay.
great. There's
Awesome.
a second one. Looking forward to it. But the second one is the last contractual one he has with Netflix. So that's it. So I'm sad. It's like a bittersweet thing. It's like a series finale.
Oh, that's sad.
But I'm looking forward.
I'm going to
it.
watch Supernatural.
Maybe we'll talk about Chappelle next week.
I'm on season 8.
Maybe we'll talk about Chappelle and comedians next week.
Okay.
We never do stuff.
We
like
could probably get a
John
comedian
Mulaney.
on.
I love John Mulaney.
Let's talk
I
about John
can't
Mulaney.
get John Mulaney on, but we can talk about
We
John
can talk
Mulaney.
about John
He's
Mulaney.
new in town. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you on the New Age Insiders Wrestling Show. Thank you for listening to Be Nerd on the New Age Pop Network, and we will catch you guys real soon because altogether we are the premier place for fans of all kinds to connect, discuss, and to be heard.
We out.